Before we dive in, if you've been wanting to level up your mindset, become the kind of person you can actually respect, and learn how to make money posting content that's real and true to you, I coach people one-on-one through all of that. You'll find a link in the description to apply. Now let's get into it. We need to be honest about something most people are too afraid to say. Sometimes growth doesn't just look like doing better. It looks like leaving the version of yourself you've outgrown, leaving the environment that's keeping you stuck, leaving the people who no longer match your mindset. Because the truth is, you can't always grow where you were planted. Not everyone is meant to walk every mile of your journey with you. Not every city can hold your future. Not every mindset can carry the weight of your purpose. And sometimes the only way forward is to let go of what's familiar. Growth is about movement. Sometimes it's inward, sometimes it's outward, but either way, it's always forward. And that movement is often uncomfortable. Why? Because change is uncomfortable and growth demands change. You don't evolve by staying in the same energy, around the same conversations, repeating the same habits with the same people in the same places you've always known. At some point, you've got to break the cycle. There comes a moment where you realize you're outgrowing the small talk. You're bored of conversations that don't feed your soul anymore. You're tired of environments where you have to shrink to fit in. You're done repeating patterns that don't challenge you. And that's not arrogance. That's awareness. That's the moment your soul starts whispering you were made for more. And staying where you at isn't getting you there. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it really means to grow. Because growth isn't always aesthetic, despite what social media shows you, despite all the quotes you see. Growth is not always linear. It's not always soft or pretty or peaceful. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's disruptive. Sometimes growth means you'll look around one day and realize the room that you're sitting in doesn't inspire you anymore, or that the company you keep doesn't challenge you anymore, or that the story you're telling yourself doesn't serve you anymore. And that realization, that's not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. Let's start with new company. One of the hardest truths you'll ever face on your growth journey is this: not everyone can come with you. And when I say that, it's not meant to be said in arrogance as if you're better than someone else. It's meant to be said with humility. Some people only love you when you stay the same. They're comfortable with your struggle because it makes them feel safe. They cheer for the you who plays small, but get quiet when you start dreaming big. And that silence, that's not a mistake, that's a mirror. Your growth will trigger people who are committed to staying the same. But hear me out, that's not your problem. Your job is not to stay the same to make other people feel better. Your job is to become. Sometimes you're gonna outgrow friends. Sometimes you'll outgrow your own family's expectations. Sometimes the people you thought would support you the most will be the ones who resist your evolution the hardest. And it hurts. It stings. Let's not lie at all. It really does hurt. But you're not here to live a life that pleases everyone. You're here to grow. You're here to expand. You're here to evolve. And to do that, you need to be around people who pull that out of you, not people who guilt you into shrinking. The right company will feel like fuel, like accountability, like encouragement, even when it's uncomfortable. If the people around you aren't stretching your thinking, if they're not challenging your habits, if they're not celebrating your small wins while holding you to big standards, you need new company. And again, it's not about looking at your circle and saying you're better than them or that thinking you're better than anyone. Throughout all of this, keep an attitude of humility. But it's more so about recognizing your future and removing everything that doesn't align with that. And it doesn't stop there. Sometimes growth requires new locations as well. And I'm not just talking about geography, although for some of you, that's exactly what needs to happen. There's something spiritual that happens when you remove yourself from a place that holds your pain, your patterns, or your limitations. Some places carry the memory of who you used to be, the heartbreak, the failures, the version of you who doubted everything. And sometimes, to To build something new, you need a new canvas. That might mean moving cities. It might mean changing your environment, walking away from everything that's comfortable so that you can finally find clarity, not because the location was bad, but because your next level isn't tied to your old setting. New environments spark new ideas. They spark new routines, new energy. They remind you that there's more to life than what you've already seen, because comfort zones are tricky. They'll convince you that you're safe when really you're just stuck. And sometimes the breakthrough isn't inside your comfort zone. It's in the discomfort of new places, new people, and new perspectives. But here's the most important shift of it all. New mindsets. Because no matter where you go or who you're with, if your mind is still stuck in survival mode, if your beliefs are still rooted in fear, if your thoughts are still locked on old limits, there's nothing around you that will matter, because you'll still be operating from a small inner world. You can move cities all you want, you can change circles, but if you don't update your thinking, you're going to keep repeating the same results with a new background. Hear me out here. Growth is about perspective. It's about challenging what you believe. It's about asking, why do I think this way? Who told me success had to look like this or look like that? Why am I still holding on to this fear? Is this belief helping me or is it holding me back? You don't need a new personality. You need a new mindset. A mindset that believes change is possible, that you're allowed to want more, that you can do hard things, that your past does not define your potential. Because real growth is not just about adding more to your life. It's about removing what no longer fits. Old beliefs, toxic patterns, limiting stories, unnecessary guilt. That's the real work. It's internal. It's invisible, but it transforms everything. Nothing else in life matters if you don't believe in yourself first. And as cliche as that sounds, it doesn't minimize nor diminish the power or the truth of that statement. Believe in yourself. Whatever things you envision, whatever you dream of, constantly visualize it. Not because when you visualize it, it's magically going to happen, but you're reinforcing those positive beliefs in your head day in and day out until eventually you become that. You really need to believe in yourself before anything. So maybe right now you're feeling stuck. Maybe you're feeling confused, heavy, like you've hit a ceiling and can't see what's next. Before you spiral, pause and ask yourself these things. Number one, who am I surrounding myself with? Is it positivity? Is it negative people who gossip all day, who are limiting in their beliefs, who aren't aligning with where you see yourself in the future? Number two, ask yourself, what energy is my environment feeding me? Can you place yourself in better places? Do you need to switch cities? Do you need to place yourself in places that align with your future and what you want to become? Number three, what thoughts am I entertaining on repeat? Really ask yourself this. What do you think about every day? Are you thinking about media, lustful thoughts, things that don't help you grow as a person? What is it you are thinking about? Switch it out with what you want your future to be. Switch it out with the character that you'd want to develop, the person you want to become. Switch it out with powerful thoughts that inch you closer and closer to who it is you want to become. And number four, is it time for a new chapter or just a new perspective? Because sometimes all it takes is one shift, a different room, a bold decision, a deeper question, a new conversation, a moved boundary, or even a braver thought. That one shift can unlock an entire new direction in your life. So if something in you has been whispering that it's time to start over, time to relocate, time to distance yourself, time to think differently, listen to that voice, that whisper. It's not fear, it's growth calling your name. And it doesn't mean everything has to change overnight. But it does mean you need to pay attention, because the cost of staying stuck is far greater than the risk of starting fresh. You live one life, and that life goes by quick the older you get. You weren't created to stay stagnant. You weren't created to stretch. You were created to explore, to evolve, to expand. And if that means leaving behind what no longer fits, let it go. If that means choosing solitude over shallow support, protect your peace. If that means thinking in ways your past never allowed, go ahead and free your mind. Because growth, real lasting soul level growth, will often require you to lose things that felt safe so you can gain things that now feel aligned. And that's the trade. And let me say this very, very clearly. You're allowed to want more. You are allowed to change. You're allowed to break tradition, rewrite your path, walk away from what's expected, and build something that looks nothing like what you came from. That doesn't make you disloyal. It makes you aware. It makes you conscious. It makes you alive. You are not here to impress people who don't even understand your assignment. You are not here to play small to keep your old life comfortable. You're here to grow, to discover who you were meant to be, to recognize your God-given purpose. And that's growth. And that kind of growth might require new soil. So if you've been feeling the pull lately, that sense that something's shifting, that the old rooms feel louder than they used to, that the old ways just don't work anymore, you're not broken, you're breaking through. New levels, new company, new locations, new mindsets. That's the direction. That's the work. That's the call. Are you going to answer? If you're serious about self-improvement, about building real confidence, mastering your mindset, and becoming someone who not only feels better, but earns more, I created a space just for that. It's called the Authentic Creator Academy, and inside, I work one-on-one with people to grow their character, elevate their thinking, and teach them how to build a personal brand that actually makes money without selling their soul. This is for the ones who are tired of watching and ready to do the work. If that's you, the link to apply is in the description, and hopefully I meet you soon. Until then, stay humble, be blessed, and keep going.